We'll go back to the board here. I want to show you something I think is pretty neat. When you see the intelligence of the ancients and how they wrote in the deep mystical ways, but yet they had such, there was such a knowledge that is so far advanced of what we think. But in understanding the constant speed of light, I think this is neat. Constant speed of light runs 186,400 miles per second. Speed of light. Well, when you look up in the Bible and you see the tribe of Judah, which is the tribe of spirit, was positioned at the eastern side of the camp. And it says in the Bible, at the point of the rising sun. Now, Jesus said, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light. And, of course, the tribe of Judah represents spirit and represents that which is light. Well, if you look in the Bible, guess how many people it says were in the tribe of Judah? 186,400. You say, oh, is that a coincidence? Of course not. Of course not. It was written by the people or that magnificence which created the universe, obviously. I mean, if you take, I mean, one of the things that struck me, the obvious creation, the obvious power of the universe, when I saw first time a dog give birth beautifully. Women, we need doctors and gynecologists and all that. And to see a dog give birth to 9 pups and know exactly what to do, break the sac, cut the umbilical cord, do everything perfectly. So how does this dog know this? The dog knows how to do that. You call it instinct, but it's programmed. The dog is programmed like a computer. And that's what Jesus Christ says. That dog is following the single eye. It has no choice, but you do. And most of you have elected not to practice the single eye because you're afraid your church has said it's evil. That single eye will carry you instinctively to the place where you should be in the same way that the goose leaves Canada and winds up in Acapulco and knows how to get there. How does it know? Because it's programmed. And there's a programming for you if you'll only do what Jesus Christ said and practice the single eye in meditation. I think it's so fantastic as we sit and the New Age comes upon us, and so many people are frightened of New Age. It's like saying, well, I don't believe in that New Age stuff. Here it is, March, but I don't believe in March, so as far as I'm concerned, it's December. Well, how come you don't believe in March? Well, because my church says not to get involved in that stuff. That makes as much sense as saying, I don't believe in Aquarius, because I'm not going to get involved in that stuff. You're living on a planet that's going through the universe at 40,000 miles an hour. The planet is part of the zodiac. It's part of the universe. It's part of an astrological and astronomical fact. And the entire universe is changing now. There's a great shaking going on. We're going out of the constellation Pisces to the constellation Aquarius. And all of these changes are happening. And it wouldn't be so bad, except Jesus Christ is the one who prophesied all of this going on. You see people who are going into the higher consciousness. That's all you hear about now. I mean, even if you're born again, you realize that that's true. I'm saying, I'm going up to the higher consciousness. I'm going to meditate. There's New Age stores all over the place. There's New Age music all over the place. There's New Age books. And they all talk about going up into the higher consciousness. And it's all happening during this age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is the man with the pitcher of water. The man who's pouring the pitcher of water. That's Aquarius. In the Bible, in Luke, the 22nd chapter, the 10th verse, Jesus made this very strange statement. And when you think about the New Age, maybe you ought to think about this before you put it down. Jesus said, when you see the man with the pitcher of water go into the house where he goes, follow him to the upper room. Now, the house of Aquarius is the constellation Aquarius, and that's the age that you're living in now, and that's why people are going into the higher consciousness, which is the upper room. Now, you may be, say, I'm born again, and I don't believe in that stuff, and I'm not allowed. But think of this for a minute. Think of this. Is it a coincidence that Jesus said that? And I mean, are you willing to say, oh, he didn't mean that? Wonder if he did. Wonder if he did. He did say that, didn't he? He said, when you see the man with the pitcher of water, and it says Jesus never spoke but in a parable. So if he was speaking symbolically, and he meant during the age of Aquarius, people would enter into their house, into themselves, and they would go to the upper room, which means the higher consciousness, and he would meet them there. Don't you think you better really think twice about putting that down? Because a lot of Christians put that down. They say, oh, I don't believe in this new age, and I don't believe in this astrology and Aquarius and all that stuff. But if Jesus, when he said you'll see a man with a pitcher of water, meant this age, don't you think you better make sure that that's not what he meant? Because you don't know, right? You can't say for sure he didn't mean that. Maybe he did. Because you say, well, he meant that the disciples were going to see a man with a pitcher of water, carrying a pitcher of water. Well, let me give you a little something to think about. In those days, men would never carry a pitcher of water. That was a disgrace. But the man carrying the pitcher of water is Aquarius. And Jesus was not practicing astrology per se by saying that. He was simply identifying when it would be possible for people to enter within themselves, rise to the higher consciousness, and meet him. Because that would be his second coming. Well, you say, well, I don't believe that's his second coming, but in John 14:20, Jesus says, at that time, you will know I am in the Father, you in me, and I in you. So, maybe he did mean that, huh? You got people that'll get madder than heck about that. But you can't, you can get mad, but you can't say that Jesus didn't say that, because he did. And let's be factual about it. You may, by defending your church, be coming against the instructions of Jesus that during this Aquarian age, we should be entering within and going to the upper room. Because, like, when he said enter into the house, Paul said, you're God's house. So, by entering into the house, Jesus could say and isn't that what's happening now? Aren't people entering within themselves all over the place in the New Age? And aren't they going up to the higher consciousness, and that's all you hear about? I mean, the doctors are teaching it and all over. So then, maybe you better think twice about making fun of this, because if Jesus meant that, you're missing it, aren't you? And how easy it would be for you to find out. Practice the signal I, like he said, in this new age. And you'll meet him inside of you in the upper room. Not bad?